You liked it that much already? Jesus Christ. Hi, thank you for coming. This is incredible. Wow. Wow, I'm so happy I can't see your faces. That's brilliant. Well, welcome to Funny Laundering. This is where I get to air my dirty washing with 70 of my nearest and dearest. Thank you very much. It's basically therapy, except you're paying me. What a fucking business model. Wonderful. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a red-headed man. Those of you who have come from the North Shore, Titian. No, I also have an accent, of course. So what you know, never guess where I'm from. Scotland? No, told you. Marrickville. I live 2 minutes round the corner. That's how lazy I am. I could have booked the Enmore Theatre, but there's a hill. Of course I am Scottish. There was a clue. I'm Scottish. I'm proud to be Scottish. It's a beautiful country. Any Scots in? Hey! Didn't sound very Scottish at all. Clearly, you should have said I. Nice try. That's how we shake you out nice and early. Proud to be Scottish. It's a tiny country compared to Australia. It's tiny, but it punches way above its weight. It also kicks, stabs, and elbows way above its weight. For a tiny country, we're very progressive in Scotland, actually. We're world leaders in many things. We were the first to legalise same-sex marriage. Yeah, quite right, yeah. We still have free education, free prescriptions, free healthcare, and free universities. We've just started in Scotland this year giving out free sanitary products. Yeah, I think that's worth around that one clap there. Yeah, that one clap from the perimenopausal woman who's like, that would have saved me a loft conversion. Yeah. We're incredible in Scotland. We're amazingly sort of progressive and forward-thinking, and I'm very, very proud of that. We're a little bit backward-thinking when it comes to our food. Famously not great with our diet. Black pudding, that's a Scottish dish. Not even the fake Scotsman. Not even you. Black pudding is dried blood. Just dried blood and salt, and that's your iron intake for the century in one meal. You know, in the Jewish culture, they will actually use kosher salt to dry up the blood. So there's no blood-borne infections. In Scotland, we just invented penicillin so we could eat our own food. So, fuck it, let it congeal. Fry it. And that's why we die young in Scotland, because we'll fry anything. We will fry anything. Haggis, Mars bars. Deep fried Mars bars. Marlboro Reds. Anything. I imagine two people, two Scotsmen, very inventive, go, what have we, Barry, what have we not fried? I don't know, actually, Gary. We did ice cream, Skittles, air. We've not fried the air. Air fryer! Fucking air fryer! Boom, done. You know it was a Scotsman that invented the air fryer. Guaranteed. Oh, fucking air fryer. I saw a leaflet for a dance show called A Taste of Ireland. I presume it's like an Aldi river dance, right? But there is no Taste of Scotland dance show. If you want a taste of Scotland, lick a stick of butter. Right? There isn't one. I mean, if there was, it would be a 2-hour ballet about trans fats. Are we still allowed to use that phrase? For the full experience of A Taste of Scotland, the musical, you'd have to turn the air conditioning down in the theatre to about -8. Bring a pet you could pass around for warmth. And one of the ushers would headbutt you on the way out. The other great invention we came up with in Scotland, I discovered this recently. In Edinburgh, they had the world's first ever fire brigade. Why? Scotland's colder than Peter Dutton at Mardi Gras. It's famously freezing. No one's been able to light a cigarette in Scotland since the heat wave of 1974. That's why we chain smoke. We're just lighting one off the other. Like we're carrying a torch for the Cancer Olympics. We're all keepers of the flame, aren't we, in Scotland? Hey. Don't get me wrong, we love the nicotine, but we love the warmth. Started smoking young in Scotland. I started when I was 4 years old. I was a rough kid at a posh school. Turned up with my durries. I went to a posh school by mistake. It was the first and last time that I've ever benefited from a diversity quota. If there's anything a straight white man needs, it's more opportunity. So I turned up at this posh school not knowing that I was working class. And this is how I found out. I went to a party and I took some beers because I was 12. Everybody else was on Pims. But it had its advantages. It wasn't all hardship. I mean, the other rich classmates did sponsor me to build a well in my village. And one Christmas, they sent me a goat. You know what my rich friends got for Christmas? A bike with negative gears. Oh, it took a second. Yeah. That was my first night trying Pims, actually. I'd never had a whole Pims, so I thought I'd start off with a little cheeky half. But an hour later, I felt a rush. I was coming up in social class. I ended up getting another rung up the ladder when I went to an even posher school for a challenge weekend, a place called Gordonston. Ooh. Yeah, that fancy. This is the school that King Charles went to, and his father, Prince Philip, before him. You'll have seen it on The Crown. Yeah, that's the one. I think I went there as an exhibit for the kids. I was behind glass the whole time. I had this little plaque in front of me that said, Kevin, 15, 11th generation employee. Do not feed. And so I had to regale them with stories about the modest house that I lived in and the fact that we had no furniture in the house that wasn't touching a wall. Have you ever noticed that? Blew their minds. You ever noticed that? That little quirk? The smaller the room, the bigger the telly. We had a fucking big telly. These kids at Gordonston had pocket televisions. I say had. The only thing I didn't steal was the sense of entitlement. We actually won one of the challenges. We won the trivia challenge, my school. Because all these little posh fuckers thought that general knowledge was someone in their family. So we've got a new king, have you noticed? A new king. King Charles III, this one is. King Charles I, you may or may not know, was Scottish. Yes. Yes, I knew that. Yes. Son of James VI, the first of England. King Charles I was famously short and dull, like a Scottish summer. Charles II was the fun one. He was known as the Playboy King. He was a little bit naughtier. Like, he was into gambling and whoring and theatre, drinking. A bit more like Prince Andrew, actually. King Charles II had 14 children. Unlike Prince Andrew, who likes children of 14. Did any of you watch the coronation of King Charles III? Yeah. Yes. Fun? It's fun. It's interesting. It's interesting for who was not there. Because Prince Harry was there alone. Right? I imagine at some point he must have said, "Daddy, did you say I can't bring Megan?" And he went, "No. I said you can't. Bring Megan." Harry would have just, "Yes, Dad." Interestingly, no monarchy here. Well, I mean, technically it is your monarchy as well, but you guys don't give a fuck. No. And it works both ways. They don't care about you either. To them, Australia is just like the sort of naughty kid in the supermarket over there, just pulling things off shelves and eating things and causing chaos. And Britain's just a drunk dad over here going, fuck. They're all right. They're having fun. I'm watching you. One of the many reasons I love Australia is the lack of pretension or class. I love it. I love the fact that you've got your own sayings as well. You've got a horrible disdain for the English language, and it's delicious. I heard someone in Australia once say, "It's not my fault. I'm just the scapegoat." Someone else and I said to me, "Well, you know, it's a dog world." Is it? Should we drop it like it's hot? Heard someone at a wedding I went to say, "It's not a real wedding without a cock and bush." Because everyone at a wedding goes home with one of them at the end, right? My all-time favourite was someone actually said to me, "Kev, I don't know, it's a bit of a double-ended sword." Braveheart would have been a very different movie. I mean, in the credits at the end, Mel Gibson would still have been at the top and the bottom. You've also got your own phonetics here. You've got your own phonetic alphabet. I don't know if you're aware. Everywhere else in the world, they've agreed on one. Not Australia. Everywhere else is Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, and on. Australia, no. If I was to spell my name out, for example, it's Kevin, just in case. Kilo, Echo, Victor, India. Everywhere else, N for November. In Australia, N is for? Nelly. Fucking Nelly! Of course it is. Who's Nelly? Do any of you know? Always Nelly. Why stop there? Why just have that one? You got to change them all. A for Arvo. B for bastard. C for cockhead. D for dickhead. Dingo. I don't know. Who's Nelly? Does anybody know Nelly? Okay. I'll work it out in Google and get back to you. I knew I was never going to marry a Scottish girl. I knew it. They don't have that joy that you have. Life. I knew I wasn't going to marry a Scottish girl this one day when I was in a Glasgow kebab shop and I overheard a couple arguing. And I tuned in at just the right time to hear her saying to him, "Of course I'll love you! Fuck you, buy you chips!" Like, what a catch. So I married an Australian. Woo! Not that there's anything wrong with Scottish women, they're wonderful. But the new Aussies, let's be honest. You guys created Margot Robbie. Is she there? You created Margot Robbie and the Hemsworths. We gave the world Susan Boyle and the Proclaimers. That's two men who look like they've just walked 500 miles. Now, my wife was from a beautiful sounding place. It just sounded idyllic. She used to tell me stories about her picture-perfect postcard childhood, growing up and being able to play outside. With this fabled ball of fire in the sky. So big and so close you could almost touch it, light your cigarette from it. She told me this place was called Wollongong. I always wanted an exotic woman. And then I went to Wollongong. Now, she told me she was from this beautiful, mythical sounding suburb called Fairy Meadow. Turns out that's where fairies go to buy ice. If you haven't been, I'll sum it up for you. Like, Wollongong is what would have happened if Baz Luhrmann directed Trainspotting. It's shite being Scottish. We're the lowest of the low, the scum of the fucking earth. Some people hate the English, mate. We all hate the English. So my wonderful wife worked in IVF. And she used to share facts about this science with me that I didn't know. One of the first facts she shared from her career was that nobody wants ginger sperm. No, you can't give it away. People will go through 14 IVF cycles, and if there's ginger sperm on the shelf, they would rather remain childless. Yeah, oh. Just one of you started that, and I noted. Look, look, Exhibit A. Orphan Annie. There is no movie called Much Cherished and Loved and Hoped For Annie. She came out ginger, straight to the orphanage. Orphanages were exclusively filled with ginger kids until 1986 when Prince Harry was born. You might not be a prince anymore, but that's why he'll always be my king. And people say we look alike. Yeah, all gingers look alike to you, don't they? Every week, every single week, one of my friends will send me a photograph of a rotund little ginger child with a caption, "Was this you?" At various times in my life, I've been likened to all of the ginger characters from The Simpsons. I started off thinking, oh, Hank Scorpio, he's okay. He's the kind of millionaire businessman who's modelled on Chuck Norris and Richard Branson. Then I realised I'm actually more like Sideshow Bob. And quickly becoming Groundskeeper Willie. Brilliant. You know, in Canada had a national Kick a Ginger Day. Not even an hour, like a 2 minutes of hate from 1984. A whole day, you can just kick a ginger and then get a high five afterwards. They did this for 18 years until someone was seriously injured. And then they tried to change it to Kiss a Ginger Day. That ran for 1 year. There's no other minority you could do that with. There's no Ginger Pride Day. You will never see 100,000 ginger people marching across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. There's not enough zinc in the world. I looked at the pride flag and I thought, surely, yeah, there is. At least there is an orange stripe on the pride flag. But do you know what it represents? Anyone? Healing. Even the flag is going, that one's broken. There's one woman in here who does like a ginger man. It wasn't that one. There are two women. I was thinking of my wife. She seems to like me. She says orange is the new black. She said that ginger men have something that no other white men have. Gratitude. We've been married for 15 years. I agree. And in that 15 years, I've been taught to be very efficient in the bedroom. Not good, just efficient. Like, I know all of the buttons on that remote control now. Occasionally, I will hit fast forward. Or sleep. Or accidentally bump exit. Sometimes she looks at me and asks, "Are you still watching?" She's very loyal, my wife. She's an incredibly loyal creature, which is good because being an IVF scientist, we get into deep and meaningful conversations very quickly with people. It's very normal for us to meet someone and then moments later be talking about their reproductive system. Which could be intimidating for some people, but not for me. I know that she only sees hot men as donors, not boners. For that person, I'll be selling t-shirts, mugs, flavored condoms after the show with donors, not boners. If you'd like to come and see me. Early in our relationship, we were dating, and she said, when she was my then girlfriend, would you like to come into the lab and look at your sperm under a microscope at work? So 2 days later, I was in the cubicle of shame with my pants around my ankles and a sort of suspiciously crispy magazine of women from the 80s called Bush Tucker. Now, it turns out that 76% of my sperm are abnormal. No pity. Don't pity me. A lot of it was debris. That's the word she used. Debris, like chip packets and Coke cans. She said 12% was normal. And I had a look. She was right. They were idiots. Honestly, like some of them were clearly still drunk. Some are swimming the wrong way. There's some with two heads. Some of them have got two tails. And a lot of them have got these kind of like Shakespearean collars, like a ruff around the neck. Apparently you only need a couple of good ones, and I had enough. And we have two beautiful young girls. Yeah. Yay. Yay. We called them Debris and Macbeth. Debris bounded up to me the other day and wanted to talk about body parts. And because it's a scientific household, Mum's a scientist, and I have no shame. We use very anatomical language. There are no front bums, frangipanis, or lady gardens, right? But little Debris hasn't quite caught up with the language yet. So she comes in and she says, Daddy, I want to talk about my Veninja. She called it a Veninja, right? Which is amazing. It's the best word I've ever heard for it. It's brilliant. So that's what we call it now in our house. It's a Veninja. I just love how visual that is. Like you can see it skulking across rooftops with a little mask on, like the Jackie Chan, right? Like if a ninja would fall on you from the ceiling when you're asleep and pin you to the bed. They're magical. Like the best thing about the ninjas is that no one can see them coming. I deserve a drink of water, that one. My children are wonderful. They're very funny, very smart, sometimes prophetic and profound little things. Debris once said to me, she said, Daddy, when you die, you turn into a photograph. That's amazing! And then Macbeth topped her. And she said, life's work is to mitigate regret. All right, fucking, just tone it down a bit, girls. All right, just less Socrates, more socks and shoes. Let's go. All right. I love my kids. I love all kids. I did a job when I was younger. I worked as a teacher's assistant. I worked as a teacher's assistant, as a temp, in kindies. And I didn't last long. The day that broke me was because of a little boy called Adam. Adam was 5 years old. Sweet little thing. But I went in on Wednesday morning, hungover as shit. I'd been out the night before for Booze Day Tuesday, so I rocked up reeking, right? Probably hadn't slept. And about 9:05, Adam says, I need to do a poo. I'm like, okay, why are you telling me? Me too. Go do a poo. And there was no one else around, so I instructed him to go into a cubicle and do what he needed to do. And then moments later, he said a word that still haunts me to this day. He went, finished! Now, I wasn't qualified or prepared for this little starfish situation here, right? There's no one else around. There's no one anywhere near me. And I'm rough as hell. I was like, come on, Kevin, just suck it up. Just get on with it. This little boy needs you. So I go over, I helped him. I did it. I took a deep, not too deep. I took a mid-depth breath and went over and I cleaned him up. I cleaned him like I was detailing a Ferrari. Right? 10 minutes later, he's happy as Larry. He's running around with clean legs. So I said to one of my colleagues, this just happened. And she went, oh, you don't have to do that. Say that again slowly. And she went, no. Adam's 5. He can do that himself. And if it's a little one, you can use the change table. No one told me about the change table. So I said, what? So does he? She went, yeah, he does this every day. Every time there's a new temp, particularly if they're hungover. Little fucker. So as he's leaving that day, he looks at me and says, tomorrow, there's more where that came from. There was no tomorrow. I got a newfound respect for teachers that day. Because my previous experience had only been my teachers. And as I said, I went to a very posh school. I was scared of my teachers. We had one guy who would throw dusters at you. He would lock you in the biology cupboard. With the lights out, with all these little pickled, rare and exotic animals. This teacher's name was Mr. Disney. Like, he was distantly related to Walt. What went wrong in that family? He was also the head of outdoor education. Now, this guy hated me. Hated me because every day I would come in and try and sneak in a little Disney reference for him, right? I got through all the dwarves before he cottoned on. I would walk in. Morning, sir. Sorry, a bit sleepy today. I'm going to be leaving early. Got to go to the docks. I was having a great time. Oh, yeah, a bit grumpy today, I would say. And then this outdoor education program is where it all came back to hit me. He ran something called the Duke of Edinburgh program. Don't know if you're familiar with it. If you're not, it's for posh kids, people with pocket televisions. They take you into the Highlands and they drop you off with just enough cigarettes, weed, and Pims to have a great time for 2 days. And they give you a kind of muster point in the distance that you've got to get to where you'll camp with all the teachers. So I emerged one morning after hiking and having a great night, unzipped my tent, came out, first one up, smoke billowing out the tent behind me, reeking of sex and alcohol. And then I saw Mr. Disney. He emerged from his tent, the smoke billowing out behind him, also stinking of sex and alcohol. And a moment later, the maths teacher popped his head out of Mr. Disney's one-man tent. And I held his eyes. Morning, sir. How are you? And he went, honestly, MacIsaac, I'm a little bashful. Fair play. Fair play. And we got on like a house on fire after that. I've got ADHD.
Yay.
I know there is no segue required for that. You should just blurt it out randomly like that. I never know which point in the show it's going to happen. Feels right. I had it from way back. I had it from before it was everyone's favorite excuse for their poor life choices. Like, I used to finish my classwork before anyone else and then just distract everyone around me. I fancied this girl in my class, Danielle Gibson. She said I reminded her of Robbie Williams. So I was up the front of the class giving it, loving angels. And she went, no, I mean Robin Williams. Which I know now is a much bigger compliment, right? People think ADHD stands for attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. It should stand for acute deafness to high detail. Because I can't focus on anything for long. I need all of you to speed up your chats with me, right? Because I can't remember the start of the sentence. I haven't read a book cover to cover in years. Because I get to about page 3 and I'm just like, oh, I get it. I get the gist. And that's enough for me. Anne Frank, yep, sure. Anne, I get it. You live in a loft apartment, you've got to keep quiet. I get it. In the beginning was the Word. Oh, I get it. Oh. A brief history of Microsoft. I get it, yeah. Call me Ishmael. Okay, call me Kev. So what? Done. I'm really excited about that one, though, about the Italian army chef, Captain Corelli's mandolin. One person's enough for me. That's enough. My wife was the one who cottoned on about the whole ADHD thing first. She was all over it, right? Because she saw me having siestas every day, just exhausted, passing out. And then I would be eating meats, like dried meats, like a platter of dried meats at 10 o'clock at night. And I could have like a double espresso and just fall asleep. Right? And she went, maybe you've got ADHD. I was like, maybe I'm Spanish. But no, she was right. I have ADHD. And I'm on amphetamines all the time. Woo! Yeah, I'm high all the time. Probably more Colombian than Spanish if I think about it. I did 5 tax returns in one day. And I enjoyed it. That's what they do for you. They make me really dialed in, really sort of focused and motivated. Really, someone just went, yep. I see you, sister. Really focused. Like if I have 2 Dexies and a trip to Campos, I can read QR codes 100 meters away. I'm like Bradley Cooper in that movie, Limitless. Yeah? Where he takes 1 pill and can do anything. Except win an Oscar. Except win an Oscar. It's been great. It's changed my life. It's been a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's been great. It's helped with all sorts of things, like acting. Remembering lines. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Work in progress. I went to the psychiatrist and explained, and it became a point where I was like, I can't remember things. I can't remember lines anymore. I've got to do something about it. This chorizo is costing far too much money. So I eventually got an appointment at the psychiatrist and went in and for an hour, I just poured my heart out about all the childhood challenges, all my frustrations and financial woes, all the impact on the relationships I'd had. And eventually she just reached across the table, so tender, took my hand and said, Kevin, it sounds like you've been dealing with a lot. Take a seat, the doctor will be with you shortly. And I got approved so quickly. I met the real psychiatrist. told her the same story, and she said, without any hesitation, Kevin, I have no hesitation in diagnosing you with ADHD and prescribing you methamphetamine. Thank you. Thank you. Now, can you spare $1 for the train? I studied drama. Who knew? I went to drama school and studied for 4 years to get a degree in acting. I worked across the last 3 decades as a professional actor. And here I am! Thank you. In the Messina car park. In a shipping container. Follow your dreams, kids. Just dream of working in asset finance. I'm not an actor because I want fame or fortune or anything. I just want enough money to be able to fill up. Just want to be able to fill up my Kia with unleaded 98. I've been running on E10 for years. E10's basically goon for cars, isn't it? People always ask actors the same questions, the same 2 questions. Can I have the bill, please? And what are the specials? And everyone thinks they can do it. Everyone thinks, oh, I could be an actor. It's easy. I was getting my hair cut by a barber in Scotland. You've spent 40 minutes talking to me about acting. I'm like, come on, mate, snip, snip. He said, I could be an actor, eh? I could do it, eh? I could have been an actor. I was like, fuck no. You'd be a fringe performer at best. Selling t-shirts saying donors, not boners in the car park. And I love the idea that he could have been an international movie star. But he chose hairdressing. How wonderful if more people did that and chose to be a hairdresser and open a salon. You could have your hair cut by Bob De Niro. There's more coming. Meryl Streep. Spruce Willis. He's a colorist. He dies hard. The show's called Funny Laundering. There's a pun in the title. I am what's known as a character actor. So that means I'm very versatile. I can play anything. I can play a big Scottish ginger lawyer. Big Scottish ginger murderer. Big Scottish ginger biscuit. Very versatile. And now I do auditions at home. And sometimes I need a reader to read the other person's lines with me. Now, my wife is not an actor. So I'll ask her, darling, here we go. Can you just read it like a human being? Like just quite, slow, steady, quite quiet. You're beside the camera. Just flat, not too theatrical. And what I get, low prices are just the beginning. What do you think we're advertising? I haven't booked a job in fucking ages, but her OnlyFans is going off. I got to tell you, we made a mistake. in the middle of all this ADHD stuff and post-COVID, we thought it'd be a good idea to get a dog. It'll be calming, they said, soothing, they said, like a therapy dog. We fucked up, we got a Jack Russell. Don't know if you know anything about Jack Russells, but they're basically dexamphetamine with a tail. Yeah, they were bred by someone in England called the Reverend John Jack Russell. He wanted a dog that reflected his personality. He loved fox hunting and hated postmen. So you got this little dog who's very quick to aggression, right? His name is Buddy. Now, Buddy is 40% short leg, Jack Russell, 40% green beret. Like, I think he's done a couple of tours overseas. Afghanistan more, the inner West Bank. The other 20%, if you're curious, is just penis. Like, imagine how confident you would be. Try not to look at anyone in the eye. Imagine how confident one would be if 20% of your body mass was just peen. And this guy's got a nemesis. Buddy, he has this nemesis in the park, a dog called Snickers. Because he's mostly nuts. Snickers is like a miniature Kelpie crossed with a standard high school bully. And so one day, Buddy and I are in the park, and there's no one else there. No humans, no other dogs. And this is our time. So I look at him and nod. He looks back at me. And nods. I fucking do it. And he knows I've got his back. I'm covering his 6, right? So he walks over to Snickers. Hey! Hey! Snickers! Let's give him a different accent, right? Tony Soprano. Hey, Snickers! Fuck you! Fuck you! Huh? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Huh? Huh? The thing is, Buddy's cock was out the whole time. Like Buddy's little red rocket. Like it's intense and constant. You could guide ships into the harbor with this thing. And he was obviously excited by the aggression, right? So Snickers looks at Buddy in slow motion. His eyes are the last thing to leave the ground. He goes, and he notices that the red rocket has been deployed and engaged. And then he just walked off. That's how nonplussed he was. Nonplussed. It was like a co-worker had asked him a question while he was reading an email. Just Buddy turned to me and went, "Fucking pussy." I'm shit at buying gifts, and it's coming up to Christmas and birthday season. Now, we've entered into this arrangement, my wife and I, where she just buys whatever she wants at any time of year. And then one day we'll just give me a number, and I transfer that number that she's just made up into her bank account. It works fine. I like Bunnings vouchers. Right? Bunnings has everything I could possibly need. Bunnings is the great leveler in society. It's like the United Nations of DIY, right? We've got young, old, we've got men, women, gay, straight. Everyone in there is just a person about to break something. And I took my mum in. The first time my mum went into Bunnings, she loved it. It was the first time she'd seen fruit growing on something, not just in a can. She loved it. And she went, it's amazing. And then she fell silent for a very long time. And she turned around and went, there's a lot of lesbians in here. Which is fine, there are, right? But that wasn't the problem. It was the voice that she used, because she actually said, Kevin, there are a lot of lesbians in here. That's so much worse. It's so much worse. I was like, what are you saying? What are you saying? She's a deaf lesbian? Like, she was more concerned about offending a homosexual than the deaf community. I mean, they're lovely parents. They're very supportive. Don't get me wrong. They're wonderful. When I announced I wanted to go to drama school instead of university, incredibly supportive. They said, absolutely, that's a great thing to do. They supported me immediately and every day since. My mum shouted into my dad, Stuart, Kevin says he wants to go to drama school, not uni. And my dad's response was beautiful. He just went, always knew he was gay. And I was 16 and rebellious, so I'm still pretending to be straight just to spite them. But my dad, just to paint you a quick picture of what he was like, my dad's a wonderful, wonderful, kind soul. Wonderful man, but the kind of man who will drive to Katoomba for an hour and a half to see the Three Sisters and get to that little bottleneck where the cars back up about 5 minutes from the Three Sisters and go, nah, fuck it, we're going back. I'll just look at it on Google Earth. So one day he says to me, when I was a much younger man, Kevin, we've got to have a very serious discussion. It must be. We've got to talk about something. I know that you've been looking at pornography on the family computer. The reason that I know this, because I was clearing my search history. And I was looking through the list and realised that I'm not into cheerleaders. And I went, well, Dad, I know that you've been looking too, because I'm not into tattooed lesbians. That's all from me. Thank you so much for coming. See you next year at the Enmore.